Hello and you're welcome to today's video. My name is Oluchi and thank you for joining me today. So today we're going to be talking about something that is very significant, something that is very sensitive, something that people usually don't like to talk about in full, but something that everybody is literally subconsciously talking about. Okay, so we're going to be talking about sex. Now, some people have seen me say it and just like, did she even say that? Did she even go there? Now, believe me, this is a very awkward, subject to actually talk about, but it's something that we need to actually start talking about because, you find it in our movies. People aren't hiding it anymore. Either overtly or covertly, they're talking about it. They're carrying out such acts. You find it in books. Lots of books, lots of online content is talking about it. You find pictures, you find websites that are just talking strictly about it. And even in our music too, musicians these days, they aren't keeping things secret anymore. They sing, a lot of the lyrics are very explicit. So you find out that sex is something that pervades our environment. But there's a few things that we need to get straight, some facts we need to get straight about sex. And that's why I decided to, take up this very, very sensitive topic today. And I hope that you're able to learn a few things, about it. So what are the few special things about sex? Now, the first thing is that sex is something that is deeply satisfying. It's something that God has created to actually bring pleasure to people, whether old or young. And so it's something that people actually desire for, people crave for, and people enjoy it a lot. So it's deeply satisfying. The second thing actually is that sex is very sacred. Now, what is the one thing that couples share, a husband and a wife share that they cannot share with anybody else? So they can actually share meals with other people, they can eat from the same place with other people, they can drive the same cars as other people, they can even be in the same room as the other person, and that's maybe termed all right. But when it comes to sex in the real sense of the word, they are supposed to leave that to. That's a special thing that they share with their spouses. And that's why when that is actually broken, as in the case of adultery, even in the legal world and then even in the Bible, that's the reason, that's a legal grounds, or that's a, grounds for divorce, legal grounds for divorce, because sex is something that, creates a difference between a husband and a wife. And so in view of that, the third thing is that sex is soul tying. Now, there are some things that are difficult to explain physically, but sex bonds people in a way that, literally nothing else can. It's actually a spiritual transaction. It's not just about skin on skin. And those who are involved in it will actually tell you, especially if they're really sensitive, that there are bonds that are formed between two people in that place of intimacy that is difficult to be formed anywhere else. And this is the reason why, God actually, decided and he chose that sex should be kept in the confines of marriage, because sex bonds people in ways that it's difficult to understand, and it creates bonds, it creates a kind of unity in their hearts and in their spirit, because it's actually a spiritual pathway. The Bible says it as two becoming one flesh, both physically, emotionally, in their minds. Now, the fourth thing about sex now is that sex should actually be saved for the one who is going the whole way with you. And what do I mean by that? Some people say that love is sex. Love is actually not sex. Okay, love is an attitude and sex is an action. Now, love may be expressed as sex, but when sex is carried out outside of marriage, it's not the true expression of love. And do you know why that is actually true? Because You know, your body is the greatest gift you can actually ever give to anybody. I mean, why do we go around, you know, trying to, at least most people, trying to cover our bodies and wearing clothes and all of that? Because our bodies are all we have. So when you actually give of yourself to somebody in the place of sex, that's like the highest gift you can ever give to anybody. Now, if somebody loves you and they aren't married to you, and they're asking you for sex, and they're saying, if you love me, then you're going to have sex with me, the truth is that they don't actually love you. They're actually just being selfish. Do you know why? Because they're asking for your greatest price without being willing to pay the price. Okay? So somebody who says, even if they say, I will marry you, I have plans to marry you, it's a far cry from actually getting married, because getting married takes a lot. It takes a lot of preparation, it takes a lot of talking, it takes a lot of buying, it takes a lot of organization, it takes a lot of putting your mouth where your, money where your mouth is. It takes a lot of, actually going to make this thing legal. It's actually deciding that I have found you so worthy that I have decided to discard boy, girl, man, woman, just for you alone. So marriage is actually a big deal. And that is why, sex should be saved for that person who is able to pay the price. So because sex is your greatest prize, you should save it for the person who is willing to pay that price. And so if they love you, if they say they love you and they're asking for sex and they haven't gone all the way, I'm not telling you that they're promising to go all the way. I'm saying that they have literally gone all the way, literally, asked for your hand in marriage and have actually married you legally, then they aren't worth, giving your body to. The fifth point is that celibacy actually makes sense. Okay, a lot of people say, oh, it's difficult to be celibate, oh, it's difficult to actually keep away from premarital sex, everybody's doing it, I have a lot of, it's pleasurable, why can't I go, for it? But there's a lot of baggages that come with premarital sex and extramarital sex that nobody really tells you about. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's pleasurable. Like we said, sex is, one of the greatest pleasures on earth. But there are so many things. There's a lot of baggage that comes with it. First of all, pregnancies. Pregnancies affects not just the lady, it affects the man. It affects the lady, of course, more immediately because she has a growing child in her womb. Pregnancy is a work that is difficult to explain unless you have been there. It's actually quite stressful. It's emotionally tasking, it's physically tasking. It's something that is better done in the confines of a marriage. But many times when you're carrying out premarital sex, you actually aren't married to this person. So you find yourself walking the path of pregnancy without having someone, by your side in that marital relationship. And then, of course, having a child, an unplanned, unexpected child. Children take a lot in terms of time, in terms of resources to take care of. And so those are challenges that come with premarital sex. Now, a second thing that could happen is that, okay, you could say, I don't want this pregnancy. I want to take it out. And you go for an abortion. You actually kill that baby. It's actually murder because you are taking the life of another person without their consent, So abortion is actually murder, and it's a sin in the eyes of God. And then secondly, abortion, people just say, okay, just take it out and you'll be fine. But you find out that a lot of people go through a lot of emotional distress, many months and many years, even after taking out such pregnancies. They may not come to tell you, this kind of distress, but they're actually going through that distress. Now, even abortions too can actually lead to, the lady getting, some infections and things like that. But then the third thing that can happen in premarital and extramarital sex is when people begin to get STIs, that's sexually transmitted disease. So because if somebody is willing to have sex with you and they're not married to you, the chances are that they are having sex with other people. That's the basic truth. So you find out that a lot of disease conditions actually come with a promiscuous lifestyle. In fact, things like herpes, things like HIV, things like hepatitis B, things like gonorrhea, all these things are actually, they affect your reproductive organ. And if you're a man, if you're a woman, it could affect you even much later when you are now, willing to carry your own pregnancy, maybe during, when you get married. You find out that your reproductive organs might have been damaged or might have had some issues, and then you begin to find some challenges with giving birth. That's not to imply that everybody that has difficulty in giving birth actually live the promiscuous lifestyle. That's not what we're saying, but we're saying that some of these STIs people have also can predispose to that. Now, we also said that sex is soul tying. So you find that people who are in relationships as teenagers in the early 20s, they were having sex with these people. Now they're all older, they're married, and yet they still find that they are longing for this other person. They still find that they can't get over this person. They still find out that even if they're in a married situation, they're still looking for their exes. Why? Because of those spiritual bonds that are formed in the place of sex. Sex is deeper than we think. It's not just skin on skin. And so these soul ties lead people to extramarital affairs. This soul tie leads to severe heartbreak and depression. These soul ties can lead to even spiritual problems for people, because like I said, sex is a spiritual highway, and spirits actually move in and out during sex. So premarital sex will get you into this kind of issues. So that's why celibacy actually makes sense. Celibacy is safe, and celibacy is not suffering. Now, the final point I want to make is that sex is not a destination. Sex is a journey. So some people say, okay, no, we're not having sex, but we love each other, so we're just maybe holding hands, we're just kissing, we're just doing a little light touching, nothing too serious. Well, we're being careful. Now, that is in fact the lie of the enemy, because sex is not a destination, as it were. It's a journey that leads up to a climax. So you need to be very careful when you're relating to somebody who you are emotionally drawn to, who you might be in a relationship with, because many people don't start out with the fact that I want to have sex, or I want to go into this and we want to go the whole way. No, but that's why the Bible says that you shouldn't wake up love before it's time. It starts with that flirting, those physical expressions of love, and those excessive or extended periods of contact and all of that, and those things begin to awaken things inside of you that shouldn't actually be awoken at the time. So for you to remain celibate, and for you to remain without sex until you're married, you must realize that sex is actually a destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey. So I hope that we have learned something from today's discourse on sex. And I want you to understand that sex is worth waiting for, okay? It's really, really worth waiting for. Forget the lies, forget the acting on TV, forget all the things that you're seeing everywhere, forget the stories. Sex is worth waiting for, and sex is best consummated when you are married. So if you're not yet married and you're not having sex, please don't think that you're suffering or you're missing out on something. No, you're actually simply waiting for the right time. And if you are not married but you're already engaging in it, I want you to realize that it's not that's a wrong decision, and you need to work on keeping pure in the sight of God. So thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we'll be talking about how to actually keep away from premarital sex and extramarital sex, and how you can keep yourself pure for God. So if you have any comments, kindly drop them and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you have been blessed, and I'll see you on the next one. Have an amazing day.